Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first episode of Platt Boyz. I'm your host, Elazar Perez, and you already know me from the Eli and Pat show. But you don't know these two gentlemen, first time on the production. Here's all my two co-hosts and a guest star, Andrew and Orlando.
Yes, thank you for having us.
You're on the show.
Well, I am.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Thank you.
But yeah, I'm glad we've been able to get this started up. It's definitely a lot of trial and error, but huge thank you to Bruce and Mr. Chambers for being able to get this all up and running. Definitely taking their valuable time, making sure we're up and live. So shout out to them.
No, word. It's a huge shout out to both Chambers and Bruce for helping us get through this, because without them, we'll be in the bigger hole right now. But overall, should we get started with the show?
Shall we?
All right, let's shall.
We shall, definitely. Right. So, I think we should start with the baseball season. We know that's coming to a close fairly soon. Postseason's about to get started. So, we'll do a little throwback to the beginning of the baseball season with these new rules they put into play. So a couple off the top of my head that were pretty important. They basically put in the pitch clock so that games are almost 45 to an hour shorter than normal. They also made the bases bigger, which helps out player safety. And they did a little pitcher step-off rule, so if they step off more than twice in an at-bat, the batter automatically gets the base. That brings up a whole bunch of stealing, which is good for the game. So what's your guys' take on that?
Well, you want to...
Yeah, I mean, I can start first. I'm a bit more of a novice baseball fan, but, these are still, I think, good rules for baseball because it makes it more entertaining. I mean, that's kind of the big criticism from, non-baseball fans or baseball haters. It's just it's boring. No one wants to watch baseball. But I think, these rules adds more offense, adds more action, keeps it more up pace, and I think that's really going to make people like me tune in more and... definitely check out baseball more.
It's fantastic.
Well, as we know, baseball was, quote-unquote, the only sports without a clock. That's not true. Golf doesn't have a clock.
You're right.
I don't want to hear it. Golf does. Who watches golf? I can't say that.
I watch golf. I mean, my dad watches golf.
Who you watch? Tiger Woods?
I watch anyone.
That's the only one.
You
I try to go golfing. The keyword try. I get out there, get 3 holes in, and then I'm like, all right. Kind of ready to pack it up, but I'll leave that to the pros.
Yes.
We'll leave that to the pros.
You'll leave it to Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
The new change to the rules of baseball. Overall, the pitch clock makes it a little bit faster. It's something that a lot of players got to get adjusted to. And the extended bases, I wasn't really with it, but I'm with it. The only issue a lot of people have is the ghost runner.
Oh, man.
It's the regular season. I understand they're trying to decrease injuries, but that's something you shouldn't be really complaining about. A ghost runner during the regular season, it minimizes injuries.
Yeah.
And you can switch around the player for better speed.
Yeah, and you don't want to play 18 innings one night and then go the next night and, have to play at noon the next day.
That's just how it is for the game. Regular season, you want to make it fast paced, but when it comes to postseason, it's a whole different story. That's when when the real challenge comes. And I like how they also extend the brackets too, because now 3 wild card teams and 3 divisional winners, the best thing to happen. It's like the NFL just in baseball.
Exactly. Yep. Let's toss it over to the next topic. So, obviously we have a little bit of a more novice baseball fan here, but what teams do you think surprised the league, disappointed the league, kind of met in the middle? What are your thoughts?
I know what team didn't surprise the league. Minnesota. Well, their whole division sucks, so that's one thing.
Yeah.
But the Orioles. Baltimore has not been good since 2015, 2016 when the Cubs last won the World Series. Baltimore has not saw any success. Mm-hmm. And this is their year to see success. So overall, Baltimore is one team that I see surprising the whole entire league. Yeah. The Reds is another team because they just brought up one of their best players, one of their best prospect, in Ellie De La Cruz. Born Dominican switch hitter, and I'm telling you right now, he's coming to compete.
Yeah, and about Cruz, I mean, when they first brought him up, I believe that their percentage to make the playoffs was around less than 1, maybe I think 0.4. Now they are just a game back out of that last wild card spot against the Chicago Cubs. So they're actually tied for that position right now. So that's very impressive on their end. But me as a Pittsburgh Pirates fan, I would love to get into this conversation, which we have a little graphic for as well. This 2023 New York baseball. So
You want to do this? You want to do this right now?
I'm going to have to.
All right.
We're talking about baseball. Got to get the big apple in there.
Let's show the graphics.
Let's show the graphic. Yep, we'll pop it up. New York baseball, man. The Yankees and the Mets. First and second in salary this season. Mets were in first with about $340 million. Yankees in second with about $270. Total projected wins for those both teams. They're both supposed to win over 90 games.
Yeah.
But now the Yankees are vaguely still in the playoff race, not entirely. I know these stats on this graphic a little outdated because they were made a few days ago, but sitting at 70, 76, and 74, 6 games back out of a wild card spot. And as for the Mets, they are out of it.
Classic New York. I mean, they're always disappointing. It seems like in baseball, the New York teams have they ever reached expectations?
All right.
Ooh, that's a freezing cold take right
I'm going to put it like this because, one, the Mets had the highest payroll in the league. And you're telling me you signed 2 of the best pitchers out here in 2 Hall of Famers. Mm-hmm. 2 Hall of Famers. Yeah. And then you just returned them to their teams. Scherzer should have never been a Met. Verlander should have never been a Met. The Mets should never see a playoff spot for a minute because you just wasted money on 2 of the best players out here in this league. Yeah. Cole is set. I feel bad for Cole for being out there. I feel bad for Judge for being in New York right now because of how their performance went this year. But for the Mets, is no excuse. You have the highest paying payroll out there. You sign 2 of the most expensive pitchers and you sell them. Right now, I'm celebrating because the Mets right now deserve this. As much as the Yankees deserve not making the playoffs, the Mets definitely does not deserve making the playoffs either. Because what they did this all season, don't sign. You're money hungry. Do not sign any players. Just, produce them in your minors.
Yeah, one of my biggest concerns with the Yankees is pitcher Carlos Rodon. I mean, you brought him in. You were expecting him to do well, get a couple wins for you guys. Was hurt most of the year, and now he's come back and doesn't really look too much of the same to me.
He's a scammer within scammer at this point. It's like for Rodon, I don't know. I can't blame him for his injuries. We will have to see him on his year 2 contract. But overall, all these pitchers right now, and it goes for the Mets too. You gave up 2 of your best pitchers. Houston just got Verlander back for free, and Scherzer just got, he just went to Texas, technically for on a discount.
I mean, to give some thoughts on the Mets, I mean, I feel like it just shows you that it always starts at the top with these teams, and no matter how much money you put in, how much talent you get, if an organization just inside just doesn't have it all together, I think you just see these collapses. So, that's why you see the Mets probably have a really disappointing year here, just even with all that talent, is that if you don't have it together at the top, it doesn't matter who you put out there on the field. You got to have it together inside.
Yeah, and speaking of dysfunctional, let's talk about these Los Angeles Angels, sitting right now at 68 and 82, currently eliminated from the American League playoff contention.
Can we just add them to the same topic as the Mets? The Angels, they're done. They're a franchise done. Ohtani's leaving. They're thinking about selling Trout. This team is done. So
let's toss up the Shohei Ohtani graphic. Let's have a little chat about that because he obviously has probably one of the most historic past couple of seasons a pitcher or hitter has ever seen.
He has one of the most historical seasons since Babe Ruth.
Exactly. And now you're looking at it. He cleaned up his locker. He went under for elbow surgery. Now it's looking like he's not going to be able to pitch again until 2025.
Yeah.
But being a hitter in 2024, that's still a valuable asset. That's still some teams are going to pay him ridiculously big money. And as you can see on the graphic, both New York teams are in contention for signing one of the best players in baseball. But my opinion, if I had to give a rock solid take on this, I think he's going to Seattle.
Ooh.
Seattle.
I think Shohei Ohtani has a very good chance of becoming a Seattle Mariner.
You know what?
They just got to find some money.
You know what? Seattle of all places. Seattle.
He likes the West Coast.
Does Seattle have the money? Does Seattle have the roster? Does Seattle have the lineup? He's not going to Seattle.
I think Seattle does have the lineup.
Like, I'm going to say this. He's not going to Seattle. He's not going to none of the New York teams. If he does, I don't know what to say. I'll buy you a cake for your birthday.
I would hope you would do that if he, even if he doesn't go anywhere.
He's going to LA.
He's going
not
to
the
LA.
Angels, but to the Dodgers. And the Dodgers need that DH spot. And with Ohtani there in LA, he's going to stay in the West Coast, and he's going to be happier with a team that's historical. Who wouldn't want to play for a team that broke the color barrier and that has beaten up on the Yankees throughout many World Series?
Many.
Dodgers is my team to go with.
I mean, to comment on Ohtani's injury, I think that's just like a tragic thing for the world of sports. I mean, him not being able to pitch for potentially till 25. I mean, he's one of those players that, like, all the other sports fans try to be like, oh, well, what's the Ohtani of the NBA, of the NFL? And it's like, there's no one who's like Ohtani in those other sports, because Ohtani is one of a kind. So for him to lose that big, factor that makes him one of a kind and has that versatility as a player, is just that's really a shame. And I think the baseball world in general is going to miss him. And I wonder how much it's going to kind of impact the team that does get him, right? I mean, they're still getting one of the best hitters in baseball, but you're still.
Football's coming, don't worry.
Yeah.
But that's next, yep.
But you're still getting one of the best hitters, but still losing that pitching of him is still going to sting.
He's not, for me, in my perspective, he's not a dominant pitcher, because you still can catch on to half of his stuff. He's mostly a dominant batter. He's a roof that you haven't seen since the early 20s, when Murder Row used to be one of the scariest lineups to ever face.
He's still going to do both, though. Yeah, there's pretty much no one
the injury
that can
takes
do both.
The injury takes it down a level.
Yeah,
and it's the same thing for the new prospect that came up for the Yankees, Jason Dominguez. That UCL injury, it hurts, and you can lose that player for a while. But overall, if you can still get the bats, you're good.
Yeah, but no, I'd say enough about the Angels, enough about the Yankees, enough about the Mets. Let's talk about the teams that are still in the mix. We got a little graphic right here will pop up. This graphic's a little bit outdated, made it about 6 days ago, but the only real changes from this graphic is that the Toronto Blue Jays have now jumped into that 5th spot. As you can see, Texas, Seattle, and Toronto are all pretty close in the mix. Tampa Bay's got a stronghold on that 4th seed. I don't think that the Orioles are going to give that up anytime soon for the AL East. And in the National League, one of the biggest surprises is that the Diamondbacks jumped up to that 5th seed, hopped over the Cubs, and you have the Marlins that are half a game back. You have the Giants that are 2 games back. And then you have another dysfunctional franchise. You got the San Diego Padres that it just seems like there's nonsense going on in that organization. They're 5.5 games back.
Count them out. They're not making the playoffs. Count them out.
That's why they're not in the graphic.
The 2 teams that are making the playoffs out of the National Leagues is the Reds and Miami that you have to watch out for.
They're on the outside looking in, though.
Yeah, the Reds are they're tied up with the Cubs right now, but overall, the East is set. Baltimore, Houston, Minnesota, Tampa, Toronto, Seattle. Those are your 6 teams making into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yankees, Boston, nothing. But overall, the National League, it's something to keep an eye out. Mostly the Cubs and the Reds.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to fight for one of those spots. I mean, I think I got to give respect where respect is due. I think those Diamondbacks have earned their spot. I mean, for a franchise that is only on the back burners, being able to stay 7 games above 500, especially down the stretch of the summer, I think is very impressive. They only have a half a game hold on that 5th seed right now. They've been fighting with the Cubs, but, I mean, that NL Central has been so poor this season. I wouldn't be surprised if neither of those teams in the Central just skipped out on the postseason.
Oh, yeah.
But let's switch it over. Let's not talk about who might be in the playoffs. Let's talk about who will be in the World Series.
You want to start it off?
Yeah, I'll start it off. So we have a graphic for this one as well. I think I'm going a more traditional route. I have the Houston Astros facing up against the Atlanta Braves, and I'll take the Braves in 6 games. I think the Braves have proved all season that they are the team to beat. Is not only the National League but entirety of baseball. I've seen Astros go through a couple of speed bumps throughout the season, but when it comes to playoff baseball, I think these are the two teams that have their helmet on the best, that I think that are going in the right direction.
All right. You're okay. Orlando, you want to say something before anything?
Yeah, I mean, you want my picks for the...
let me hear your picks
so,
before I rant.
So, I really want to go in with the whole Baltimore kind of, this has just been such a, amazing season for them, surprise season for them, how good they've been. And, like you said, it was 2012 since the last time they were...
2015,
2015, yeah, 2015 since they were a good team. So I really want to buy into that. But I think I'm definitely going the Braves to make it the World Series. They have been so good. They've been dominant. And I know they're loaded with talent. So I feel pretty good about them making the World Series. I think I'm going to have the Rays. Beat them in
Rays losing McCallaghan.
Oh, wait, hold up. Camera, you see me right now? Eye contact right now. He said the Rays.
Yeah. Two big losses over the summer.
The Rays are 0-2 in the World Series against a team that has Acuna, Alonso.
I never said they were gonna win the World Series. I think they're gonna make it. But I think I would have the Braves take it all. But I think the Rays are gonna make it there at the very least.
Déjame decirte algo aquí mismo, mi gente. Atlanta all the way is my go-to. I'll see Baltimore making it, but Atlanta is all the way. No matter what, Atlanta has proven every team out here that they can compete, and they won another World Series championship. When's the last time they made it? 2021? Yeah.
Yep.
I'm looking.
You got them taking 2 games, though. You got Baltimore taking 2 games, so they're not nothing to just...
Baltimore's a good team.
So a game 6 then, all right.
You got the, you're not saying that they're just going to steamroll through the playoffs.
You know what? Before we end this right here in this segment, I'll say this: for Baltimore to really make it, since it's a lot of things going around for them being an inexperienced team, it's the playoffs. It doesn't matter. All slates are refreshed. If this team wants to push for a championship and bring one back to Baltimore, they're gonna do it. And Atlanta's not scared of it. Atlanta's hungry. And they want to be up there as one of the most historical teams. So, Atlanta all the way.
Yep. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, those are some wise words from Wise Man. Let's hop into our next segment. Football's here, baby. Football is here.
But, before we get into our next segment, let's take a break real quick.
Take a little breather?
Let's take a little breather.
We'll take a little breather.
We'll be back after these commercial breaks.